As part of any normal project, you will find times that you need to take care of some bugs, and this project here is no exception to that. So in this video, I'm going to take care of some of the things I discovered during the creation of these tutorials here. So the first one, we can actually see if we hit play, and you may or may not notice it, but at the beginning we have this little fade to black. So if I do that again, you see it fades very slightly, shortly down to black and then up again. And that actually comes from the fact that the camera and the capture actually on the first time that it hits the event tick is separated. So I just set a breakpoint here, and if we check the vector length here, we can see that it's actually pretty big. Even though I did set a position initially on my begin play, initialize variables here, I made sure that I set my capsule to be at the same location as the camera. Then apparently it doesn't align up. So the quickest and maybe a little bit dirty way of fixing this is to add a new variable to keep a realign delay, which I will initially keep at 0. Like this. So that means that the first time it hits this one, when we hit save and compile here, it's going to have a realign delay of 0, so that it's, in other words, instantly. So the next time, or at the end of this, it will make sure to set this to 0.3. I'm just going to set this a little bit lower because I actually think 0.5 was a little bit too long. So that way, the first time we hit this, it's not going to fade to black. Okay, so another thing, I'm actually going to demonstrate how this looks now, and also demonstrate another bug I want to take a look at. So once I overlap here and I get a little bit too far away from my collision capsule, you're going to see a little fade to black once I realign, like that. And that is what I intended it to do. So the other thing is, if I initially am colliding with some geometry here and I teleport, you're going to see the collision capsule is being teleported, but I'm going to stay behind a little bit. The reason for that is pretty simple. It's just a mistake I made when I did this. So the area where you have your handle teleportation, where I modified this part here with the teleport, I actually forgot to set my actor position here. So we need to update our actor position, otherwise it will not update. So standing next to something or on top of something, and teleporting again, and you can see now I teleport instantly. So with that out of the way, we have another one which is kind of a little bit more interesting, and that has to do with the collisions. So I actually decided to make a design change to this. So initially I said that, okay, I want to be able to push things around with my collision capsule like that. But that actually causes a lot of problems for me, which I'm not really ready to handle right now. You can see it's actually, the trace here is going to intersect with this. So I don't want that really to happen. So I'm going to make a change here and use a different trace channel than normal, or the default visibility channel. So on the event tick update actor position here, we are using visibility. So I'm going to change that in my project settings. And I'm going to call this navigation, which I'm going to set to default ignore everything. So I'm also going to set this to navigation now, and That means that right now it's going to ignore traces on everything. So some of these boxes here, they have a preset collision channel set to block all. And the default, or the brushes here, they don't work. So you can't expect this to work unless you convert these to static meshes. But all the white boxes here, which are kind of your static mesh environment, those you want to collide with. So back inside the collision settings, we're going to go to the presets and find the block all and change the navigation here to default to block. We're also going to do that with the block all dynamic, but apparently it's set automatically for some reason. So about the boxes that we can pick up, we didn't really sort that out yet. So I just noticed one more thing I wanted to take care of. So we're going to get back to that in a moment. But if we pick up one of the boxes now, since we made these changes, what happens now is that you can actually push yourself around with this. And that's definitely not what we intend to be able to do. So I'm going to make a design change here, and that is about taking my capsule here and disabling interaction with physics bodies. So that means I'm not able to kick around things any longer, but that is going to solve a lot of problems for me. If I at a later stage want to be able to kick things around, I will probably go with a solution where I add a third capsule. We have a body capsule, we have a camera capsule, and then have a body collision capsule or something, which will then respond to the physics body object types. But for now, I'm not going to skip over this part here and just ignore it. Okay. Let me just prove a point here, which you may or may not notice, but if I, for a moment, just zoom out here and find this box we have here. This is the nav mesh bounce volume. This is the one that allows us to teleport on top of things. If I make that slightly bigger and move it to encompass the whole level and press P, we can now see that we are actually able to teleport on top of things. So what happens is that we are now able to, let's teleport on top of this one here. And if we slide off this one, we are actually not able to fall. And that looks really boring. So that is also something I should take a look at how we can handle. On the capsule itself, you may remember that I just set the linear damping to 10 some time ago. I'm going to set that back to 0.01. That was the default value it had. So once we hit play now, I'm actually able to fall. This, however, causes this problem, where you can see now I'm actually bouncing and sliding. In order to fix that problem, I'm going to use that trace that we just modified here to say whenever we hit something, we're going to set the capsule's linear velocity to 0. like that, and that's going to kill that sliding movement. Okay, so before I end this video, I want to point out that we have these walls here made out of brushes. They don't respond the same way as normal static meshes do. So if I lean into this, you can see actually the floor is missing. Things are kind of missing. So if I stick my head into it, I'm gonna fall. And I don't want to try and handle that, because in a normal game you will not have static meshes floating around all over your place. So just be aware that this is something that is expected. So in order to get things here converted, you can just click on any of these here, and under your brush settings, make sure you create a static mesh and dump your things, for example here, like that, and then you have a static mesh. Once you have done that, you will have to make sure that you set your preset collision to something like, for example, block all, and then you should be good to go. Actually, one more thing you need to do is you need to enable generate overlap events, otherwise you won't be able to see that fade to black that we just made. So actually it's not colliding. Interesting. Maybe it didn't generate a collision. Let me just check. Okay, I just added a box collision. I don't know. It looks like it had one. Okay. There we go. I don't know. Anyway, that was actually what I had for this bug fixing video. We're going to continue in the next and take a look at how we can expand our movement behavior on different things like ledges, stairs, and yeah, all kinds of stuff. So stay tuned and thank you for watching. Bye.